Which Titleist TSR Fairway Wood should you be putting in play? I've tested out the TSR2, 3 and 2 Plus models to show you the differences.
Let's get some numbers on this 3 wood. How do you typically find this one? Let me have a quick look at this setup.
I like this 3 wood, I just in general don't really like 3 woods.
Any particular reason, as in like, do you find them hard to hit? Let's get off the ground, is it? Okay.
I just always feel like I'm going to hit them really low off the face. Like I don't know if maybe I should have a shorter shaft or, I don't know.
Okay.
But then when I hit it good, it's just not necessarily that consistent.
I totally agree with you. I think when when it's on, it's good, right?
Yeah. Oh, like it's not the club's fault.
We're going to give you TSR2 versus 3 to begin with.
In that counterbalance shaft.
Yeah, I'm going to go for the same shaft just to keep the feels very similar. Shut. That sounded middled.
Yeah, it was.
That's really nice there.
It feels like it flies a bit higher than mine on the equivalent strike. Quite like that.
The changes that we've done in that have basically made it easier to launch, especially versus this with the 3. The weight is kind of under here. This has got a slightly further forward CG than say the 2.
So for people when they're going for a fit-in, what rough numbers are you looking at for being good with a 3 wood?
Let's say it all depends obviously on what speed they're bringing to the table, but typically I'm always looking at sort of 3,500 and up for a fairway wood.
Yeah.
So for someone like yourself, yeah, I'd like to see it north of 3,500. But again, it's something that you couldn't necessarily prescribe over the phone, right? You'd have to see somebody hit. You'd want to know what the actual golf ball was doing, which is obviously just highlights the importance of actually getting fitted. Because I've had numerous people, they come, let's say when we gap their bag and they have a driver, or you're working towards driver, and let's say past their longest iron or their hybrid, you go, oh look, you're in a 18-degree 5 wood, let's say, and then you test 3 wood, and there is no benefit of having the 3 wood in the bag, because the lower loft they can't utilise it, don't have necessarily the speed. So that's just their fairway club, just happens to be 18 degrees. But they'll quite often go, well, what about my 3 wood? What am I going to do if they hit it further? To go, that's you. That's it, right? That's your fairway club. Forget the number of that's it, right? So it's a bit of an education in that side, but again, testing it and almost proving it to them is sort of seeing is believing, right? So
that is so easy to hit. That was my bad strike, but it still got full height on it.
Do you feel like that would give you more confidence then? Let's say when you're on course, if it performs like that, you'd be like, hey, I'm happy to pull
Loads of times I want to hit 3 wood, but I just hit hybrid because I'm like, I feel like it's going to be more, I know what it's going to do, yeah. But then it's stupid because I could
you're giving up
stuff
some,
with this.
Yeah. So I've actually made that closer to 16 degrees in loft than 15 at the moment.
We're done. Let's go.
There you go, Hannah.
You didn't see anything.
One other thing that I want to test, so that's a 15 head lofted up to sort of close to 16. I'm going to give you a 16.5 degree head just to see if it's easier or more consistent. So have a couple more of that one while I kind of put that together.
My bad one's still good though, which is good.
Well look, here you go. So that one there, maybe not your best strike, but it's still 202 for 230.
It's more like direction, I'm not really that bothered if it goes a bit shorter. It's just you're not going to pull 3 wood out when there's gorse there, bunkers there.
Yeah.
And you've got to get it down a
You want to make sure it's you're almost like a go-to.
It's a lot of the time, even with 3 wood, if you don't quite strike it right, you'll get the equivalent amount of release anyway to get the similar total.
Yeah. There's good numbers there. Certainly no problem launching that.
That was a bad strike, but it was still a pretty good shot.
Do you know what's interesting is that with this one, it's maybe coming up a little bit shy at the moment in that setting than the 3 wood that I added a bit more loft, but you're more consistent with this one.
Yeah.
Let me just make one little tweak. Yeah, you just haven't missed, have you?
How much shorter is the shaft? Is it a 5 wood or?
Yeah, so it's an inch shorter. So it's 42 versus a standard would be 43 in that. I mean, we are, as I say, compared to the other setup, which obviously longer shaft, we are giving up a little bit of distance, but I think if you look at the consistency of it, so that one, that current setup there versus 3 wood, lot straighter. So it's same loft, so it's, again, it's 15.75 degrees aloft, same as what the other one was, but slightly shorter shaft.
Did we try the shorter shaft in that head?
No, we haven't done. We're going to do that next.
I'm ahead of the game.
It's not your first time here, is it? Let's just change that back to 15 and let's just see how we go. Nice strike.
That's still a good height though, because I feel like that was a bit bottomy and it still was.
Yeah, your average now on that setup is closer to 215, 216. Good spin numbers as well. There's a 3500, even on a slight heel strike. I personally think playing it just as straight 15 is going to give you the best of both worlds. You then obviously have the option, let's say for example, if you were going through a period where you were struggling to launch it, I feel like you were trying to manipulate it to get it in the air, you could just add a bit of loft and...
Or even if like you were playing somewhere where you ended up hitting a lot of these into the greens, like you could loft it up so it stops a bit.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. You know, again, summer, you're going to get more run out of it versus, again, softer conditions. It's a close-up. Just comes out a bit lower, doesn't it?
Yeah, heeled that bit as well.
The same sort of rules apply in that the CG in this would be slightly further forward than 2. 2 is going to be easier to launch than 3, and kind of if that's what you're looking for. But
well, the majority of people need more launch with 3 wood.
Yeah, it's going to be more forgiving as well.
Oh God, I've gone.
But again, if that's potentially you trying to get it in the air, do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather than the 2, we never had that. Because then I have no doubt that you strike that one out the middle, it's going to perform equally as well as 2, but consistently, 2 is going to make your life easier.
Oh.
202 through the air as well, that first one. So again, same as what we found with TSR2. Sharp. 205. So you get a little bit more mileage out of that one than you did in the 2. So I'm just going to add a little bit more loft.
Okay.
I like the little adjustment, adding a little bit more loft as well. I think it's just soft. You're not getting that one sneaking out sort of 210 going too far, let's say, or kind of crashing into where maybe your 3 wood might go. Look at those 3 there. Yeah. 200, 198.8 and 200.6, like really good. So we've had a little bit more loft, we've got a little bit more spin, a little bit more control. I mean, that is really consistent. And total of 210, your 3 was going to fly beyond that. So that's a really good spread. The one thing that I like is the change that they've done versus as the paint fill across the whole face.
Because it like feels like you have more space to hit it with.
Yeah, I think it's just, I personally just prefer it, and I think, you know, that was a lot of the feedback that came from the tour and everything, was that was kind of the preference, and so that's kind of what they've done. Sharp.
So do you think people who like maybe don't like hitting driver will hit this a lot?
You look at a driver, I think the head is obviously bigger in a driver, right? So therefore there's more mass, it's going to be more forgiving than say that. If you look at the size of that head compared to a driver, there certainly has those benefits for some people that like hitting 3 wood off the tee, or shorter shaft, obviously, a little easier to control.
Can I get 140 ball speed with a 3 wood? That's the question. That's nice.
You might have an idea, but obviously, as we explored with yourself here this afternoon, the options of our fairway wood lineup of 15 degrees, do we manipulate that loft? We've got 16.5, do we manipulate that loft? So just trying to try these different combinations and working out kind of how to get to the best end goal. But I think for you, there isn't necessarily an advantage unless you came to me and said, hey, it's primarily just off the tee, but you want something that's going to give you confidence off the fairway as well, where I think just a straight TSR2 15 degree worked really well, and obviously the 3, the 5 wood, you just absolutely flushed it just with a bit more loft. So